Hi, this is Mr. Hood, and we're going to look at converting between decimal numbers and percents. Let's take a look at that first example. We're going to take 0.13 and change it to a percent. Well, if I read that properly, that's 13 hundredths. And I know that percent means out of 100, so 13 hundredths must mean 13%. But there's even a little shortcut. All we really have to do to change a decimal to a percent is slide that decimal point 2 to the right. In effect, we're multiplying by 100. So after we slide that decimal point 2 to the right, we end up with 13%. In the second example, again, we're going to slide the decimal point 2 to the right. We're going to fill the empty place value with a 0, and so 9/10 becomes 90%. In that third example, we slide the decimal point 2 to the right, which means 27 10,000ths becomes 27 hundredths of a percent. And even in that last one, we can take a whole number and change it to a percent. Remember, there's always a decimal point living at the end of every whole number. And so we're going to go ahead and slide it 2 to the right, fill the empty place values with zeros. So the whole number 13 becomes 1,300%. So if we're going to go from a decimal to a percent and slide it 2 to the right, then to get from a percent to a decimal, we must slide it 2 to the left. So let's do it. Step 1. We're going to take that invisible decimal point living at the end of 78, and we're going to slide it 2 to the left. So 78% becomes 78 hundredths. In the second example, again, we're going to put that invisible decimal point at the end of 5. We're going to slide it 2 to the left. We're going to fill that empty place value with a 0. And 5% becomes 5 hundredths. 175%, plop that decimal point at the end, slide it 2 to the left, becomes 1 75 hundredths. And 8 10,000ths of a percent, if we slide that decimal point 2 to the left, becomes 8 millionths.